An off-duty FBI agent was dancing at a Denver bar over the weekend. When he did a backflip, his gun fell out of his holster, and as he reached to recover it, he accidentally fired a round into an onlooker's leg. This is a true story. Here's the video. Sources say the hapless, accident-prone agent has been involved in a series of absurdly stupid mishaps and mistakes, including the time he failed to examine the Democratic National Committee's computer after it was phished by the Russians, the time he allowed Hillary Clinton's campaign to destroy evidence of her misuse of classified documents, the time he questioned Clinton without putting her under oath, the time he listened in to the phone calls of people working on the Trump campaign, the time he sent a college professor to spy on the Trumpers, and the time he pressured Mike Flynn into a confession of lying, even though he knew Flynn hadn't lied. After the Denver bar incident, the chuckle-headed agent was taken into custody by the police, but he was later released without charges. The agent celebrated his release by doing a backflip, causing his gun to fall out of his holster, whereupon he reached to recover it and accidentally fired a round into his head, blowing out his own brains. In the aftermath of that accident, he was appointed to lead the investigation into Trump's collusion with Russia. Trigger warning, I'm Andrew Klavan, and this is The Andrew Klavan Show.
Hunky-dunky, life is tickety-boo. Birds are winging, also singing hunky-dunky-doo. Ship-shaped, tipsy-topsy, the world is zippity-zing. It's a wonderful day, hurrah, hooray! It makes me want to sing. Oh, hurrah, hooray! Oh, hooray, hurrah!
All right, we are back from Knowles' wedding. We did everything we could to prevent it, but it was like watching King Kong take Fay Ray to the top of the Empire State Building. There was nothing we could do. Windows, windows change everything in a house. You don't want to be the blind getting the blinds. No, you really want to get them. And they're hard. It's boring to go shopping for them. You can use Blinds.com. Blinds.com makes it really easy. If you're not sure what you want or even where to start with Blinds.com, you get a free online design consultation. Just send them pictures of your house. They send back custom recommendations from a professional for what will work with your color scheme, furniture, and specific rooms. They'll even send you free samples. And here's the best part. If you accidentally mismeasure the wrong or pick the wrong color, if you screw up, Blinds.com will remake your blinds for free. I found this with my house. Changing your windows changes the whole place. For a limited time, you get up to 20% off everything at Blinds.com when you use promo code Klavan. But you say, my blinds are closed. How do you spell Klavan? Klavan. That's Blinds.com, promo code Klavan for up to 20% off everything. Faux wood blinds, cellular shades, roller shades, and more. Blinds.com, promo code Klavan. Rules and restrictions do apply. All right. The Democrats are descending into farce. Do you know what a farce? A farce is a comedy marked by buffoonery and crude, ludicrously impossible events. And that's also the definition of the Democratic Party at this point. I mean, one of the good things about traveling, when I travel, I get to see more left-wing media. I'm in bars and hotel lobbies, and they play CNN because nobody would watch CNN if they didn't play it in public places. And on the elliptical machine in the gym, I'll go switch back and forth between Fox and MSNBC. And you get to see a party, the left, completely sinking into, they're now a parody of themselves. They're a comedy show. It's the Democrat comedy show because they've got a problem. They live in a Manichaean universe. Manichaeism was that philosophy that had some effect on Christianity until they declared it a heresy. It's basically that there's two forces in the world, the force of light and good and the force of darkness and evil, and they're always battling together. And because they think of politics that way, instead of just a series of policy discussions on how to solve problems, they think that everybody on the other side must be evil, and their forms of evil are racism, sexism, homophobia. But the point is evil. That's what it comes down to. And so now you've got Donald Trump, who just exemplifies this because he won't apologize. He won't tiptoe around things. He is brash and rude and crude sometimes. Here, let me just play you, just to start the comedy off, let me just play you an ad. Dan Helmer, who seems like a pretty decent candidate, a veteran and all this, he's running for the Virginia House, right? And here is part of his ad.
After 9/11, the greatest threat to our democracy lived in a cave. Today, he lives in the White House.
So now Trump is Osama bin Laden. Osama bin Laden slaughtered 3,000 people. Then Donald Trump, his steaks weren't that good, apparently. I don't know. It's like this. So let me begin this discussion and show you how this works with a parable. This is a parable from the good book, from the Gospel according to Matthew. There was a man, it's very short. There was a man who had 2 sons. He went to the first and said, "Son, go and work today in the vineyard." "I will not," the son answered. But later he changed his mind and he went. Then the father went to the other son and said the same thing. The son answered, "I will, sir," but he did not go. Which of the 2 did what his father wanted? And even the people who Jesus is attacking in that parable say, obviously, it's the one who it didn't matter what he said, it mattered what he did. So now you've got, over the weekend, I guess it was Friday, while I'm in New York, the May job numbers come out. And they are extraordinary. The economy is extraordinary. The New York Times, a former newspaper, ran a story that said the real question in analyzing the May jobs numbers released Friday is whether there are enough synonyms for good in an online thesaurus to describe them adequately. So, for example, splendid and excellent fit the bill. This is the New York Times talking about the Trump economy. The U.S. unemployment rate dropped to an 18-year low of 3.8%. I think it's tied going back like 50 years or something. Employers hired more people than economists had forecasted. Wages, which is also a big deal, wages have been stagnating, although it's a question whether they've actually been stagnating, but the point is they haven't been rising as fast as we'd like. Wages also grew faster than expected, a sign the tighter labor market is prompting employers to pay workers more. And the black unemployment rate, because remember, this is the big thing, Trump is a racist. The black unemployment rate, whose decline Trump has celebrated, fell to a new low of 5.9%. This is the biggest low in history. It's almost full employment for the black Americans. Okay, so just what do you do with this? If you're living in a Manichean universe where Trump is the force of darkness, you now have to go after this great economy, and you can only do this by descending into farce. I mean, you have to become basically, I am an absurd person saying stupid things. That's what happens to you. So Trump had a tweet an hour before the job numbers come out. He said, "Looking forward to seeing the employment numbers at 8:30 this morning." Didn't say what they are, just said that. That is a break in protocol, right? You're not supposed to do that. You're supposed to wait until the job numbers come out. Although Obama did sometimes say something that could be taken as a hint that he was preparing you for his lousy job numbers, which were continually lousy, even though they kept touting them as going up. I mean, these are extraordinary, and they're because of Trump. They're because of Trump's policy, because of the tax cuts. So the media goes nuts about this tweet. And I'm on the elliptical in the gym, and I'm watching TV, and I'm watching Morning Joe, right? And you can see this Chiron, the bottom third of the screen, and it's got these basically these incredible job numbers. I'm reading the Chiron, I'm going, wow, look at those job numbers. The economy's going great. And they're talking about this tweet, that the tweet went out early, and they have this Princeton professor on, Eddie Glaude, I guess he pronounces his last name. And he's talking about the fact that Trump violated a norm by tweeting this stupid tweet. Listen to this.
One wonders, does his narcissism have any limit, any bounds? It doesn't seem to be the case. And then one has to ask yourself the question, can we survive this? There's kind of this daily attack on basic norms that guide how this democracy functions. And it's not happening just simply at the presidential level. It's happening all around him, and how folks are complicit with this. And this is just the latest in how he's trying to tip the markets, however we read it. But there's something going on here. So I'm just sitting here wondering, as we debated the particulars, how will we bounce back from this, Joe? I know you have undying faith, but I'm just wondering, how do we bounce back from this experience with Donald Trump?
If you can't see it, if you're not watching, it's just the Chiron is talking about these incredible job numbers. Well, it's like, Professor, stick your head out of the television, look down, and read the Chiron under you. How will we survive? What? NBC ran the headline because all the liberal news outlets did this. They obsessed about this tweet. NBC runs a headline. Listen to this English. Economy added 223,000 jobs in May, but Trump's pre-market tweet is the focus. It is the focus. I love that phraseology. It is the focus to whom? It's whose focus? It's your Don Lemon. Here's Don Lemon. I swear, if he's so lucky there's a Chris Cuomo in the world, or he would just be the dumbest guy on CNN. Don Lemon says, there's no questions today's job report is good news, including the news that we're as close as we've ever been to full employment in the black community. But what's full employment without full respect? Well, Don thinks that Americans don't respect black people, but it's just him. He's extrapolating from the fact that we don't respect him. I'm black, they don't respect me. Maybe it's all black. No, Don, it's you. It really is you. I have this image in my head of a guy sitting. He sits down to dinner and he says, "Honey, kids, I have some good news. There will be Christmas presents this year. This year we will have Christmas presents. But I also have some bad news. Trump sent out a tweet an hour beforehand. And Don Lemon, he would then wait for them to stop sobbing about, no, I'm happy with Christmas, but the tweet. And then he'd wait for them to calm down before he broke it to them that Don Lemon feels disrespected. I mean, it's insane. It is an insane comedy show. All right, before I got to go on with some of this because there's some really funny stuff coming down. Nancy Pelosi says she issued a statement. Strong employment numbers mean little to the families hit with soaring new costs under the Republican watch. She's talking about Obamacare. Nobody's on Obamacare. And Trump says new plans are coming out. Anyway, just hilarious stuff. You got to say, at least the Democrats may not have anything to offer policy-wise, but they have the gift of comedy, the gift of laughter. They give us the gift of laughter. All right. Father's Day coming up. You know what you never say? You never say, hey, it's raining and I'm dry because there's a roof over my head. Thanks, Dad. But now you can with Omaha Steaks. I love this stuff, man. They deliver this right to your house. All kinds of meats and other things, pork, poultry, veal, lamb, bison. I haven't tried the bison yet, but I have eaten bison. It's great. Seafood, vegetables, all kinds of good stuff. It is really, really tasty. Take it out in the barbecue. Barbecue season is just beginning. Dad's barbecues, they kind of go together. He will love this stuff. And right now, Omaha Steaks is giving a limited time offer to my listeners for Father's Day. $49.99 allows you $50, a 78% discount. Okay, this is an amazing deal. Go to omahasteaks.com, type Andrew in the search bar, and you get this Omaha Steaks Father's Day package. This is what it includes. 2 tender filet mignons, 2 beefy top sirloins, 4 chicken fried steaks, 2 boneless pork chops, 4 all-beef Omaha steak burgers, 4 gourmet jumbo franks, 12 ounces of all-beef meatballs, 1 pound of steakhouse fries, 4 caramel apple tartlets, 1 Omaha Steaks seasoning packet, plus get 4 more grill-ready Omaha Steaks burger free with the purchase. Again, get this limited time package for only $49.99 when you go to omahasteaks.com, type Andrew in the search bar, and add Father's Day package to your cart. Don't wait. The offer ends soon. Go to omahasteaks.com, type Andrew in the search bar, grab your dad, and fire up the grill. It's really, you will see, it is really tasty. So people are not going for any of this. They don't buy into any of it. I mean, the polls show, one of the trackers of the pulse of regular Americans is a poll question that asks if the country is headed in the right direction. According to Rasmussen, 42% now say that this country is headed in the right direction, and 53% say it's headed in the wrong direction. Now, that doesn't sound like much, except when you realize that the sentiment during the Obama years, people at the end of July 2011, the numbers were 14% thought we were headed in the right direction, and 80% said we were headed in the wrong direction. This is the thing about Obama. People liked him personally because, he was stylish and calm and all this, but they did not like his policies, including Obamacare. Just continue on this idea of farce. Here's, I like human absurdity so much that sometimes my sense of humor strays a little bit into the unsavory. And here is an example. In Virginia, there is a guy named Nathan Larson. Have you heard about this guy, Rob? Nathan? Yeah. He is running as an independent, but I'll get to how the Democrats figure into this, okay? his policies, he lives in his parents' basement or something, and his policies support, pedophilia, incest, the usual things, white supremacy, marital rape. Here's an interview a local TV station does with this guy. You only have to look in his eye. The guy's like a felonious loon. You have to look in his eyes. But here is a Virginia candidate for the Congress.
What about sexual relations with your own children?
Like, I would favor, legalizing incest.
Why is that?
Just because personal freedom.
What about the children's rights? Wouldn't that be rape to have sex with a child?
Well, like with girls, I just believe that it should be for fathers to make those decisions.
And you don't find anything wrong with that?
It's not for me to intrude on another family and tell them what they should do.
Wouldn't that be really dangerous for children?
I don't see how we know that.
Children are human beings. They're not property. What about their protection?
The law doesn't treat them as having the full rights of adults.
Yes, folks, he is that crazy. It's horrible. Like, on the one hand, it's like watching a guy who's been possessed by a demon, which is not that funny, but there's something about the guy just standing there running for Congress. So what's this got to do with the Democrats? How did this guy get to be a congressional candidate? Well, during the Hillary Clinton-Trump election, Hillary Clinton's close friend, the Virginia governor, Terry McAuliffe, was afraid that she would lose the swing state of Virginia. So he forced down the throat of Virginians, overriding courts, overriding the state Congress, everything. He forced a law down their throats that allowed felons to vote and run for office. Because who would felons vote for, right? It's kind of like they say, you vote for the kind of people who are like you. Felons are going to vote for Hillary Clinton, right? A criminal. Maybe she'll support criminals. This is great. So he gives felons back their civil rights. Well, this guy had done time. Big surprise, right? The only surprise is that he's out, that he's free. The guy had done time because he had threatened to assassinate the president. And you say, which president? He didn't care. He was either George W. Bush or Barack Obama. It was like, whatever, so they put the guy behind bars where he so very clearly belongs, but he gets out, and then Terry McAuliffe, in order to help his candidate, puts this guy in a position where he can run for Congress. They are running a comedy show, so help me. I started this with a parable. I will end with a parable, except this is, when I say it's a parable, it is a real life story that is so clear that it is a parable. I'm talking about what I've come to call the Barbie girls, Roseanne Barr and Samantha Bee, right? The Barbie girls. And so Roseanne is a Trump supporter, and she puts out a tweet, kind of just on impulse, that could be interpreted as racist. So they interpret it as racist, of course, because a conservative said it, and all conservatives are racist, so it has to be racist. And she's fired off her show within 3 hours, this popular money-making show. She's fired within 3 hours. You know what? I don't care. She sounds like an awful person. It was an ugly tweet, whether it was racist or not. It was an ugly thing to say. ABC, Disney has the right to do what they want. Samantha Bee makes a comment, this where she used the C word about Ivanka Trump, which I just think is brutally ugly. I got to say, I can have a pretty foul mouth. I'm working on it, but especially when I'm around guys, I can have a foul mouth. Even I don't use that word. I don't, and I certainly would never use it to refer to this person that I just happen to disagree with or whatever. That remark was not on impulse. It was not on drugs. It was not because she's mentally ill. It was a scripted remark that went through all the vetting that it could possibly go through, right? The station vets it. The producer vets it. She goes on and says it. The audience cheers. They tweet, oh, how wonderful it is. It's trending on Twitter, I think it was, in some social media. She kind of issues a kind of apology. Now that there's a lot of outrage, she's kind of apologizing. They give her an award, The left starts having this conversation about, is it really bad to say this? Now the Democrats have become the party that thinks MS-13 has, sparkles with the divine spark, and, it's okay to call women this ugly word. That's the party. That's the party. We hate the good economy. We're not moved by the fact that you have a job. We call women the C word, and we love gangsters. I mean, that's their policy. That's their policy. And you look there and you say, like, you're joking, right? No, that's really where we stand. And then they start talking about there's no double standard. They start saying there's no double standard. Well, who is it? Brooke Baldwin on CNN, and good for her. Brooke Baldwin, she's on CNN, so she's obviously a left-winger, no friend of Trump, very, very hard on all things right-wing. But she did call them out on this. She called them out on the double standard, among other things, the fact that Disney, which owns this ABC, on which Roseanne Barr was, fired Roseanne Barr, but hired back Keith Olbermann to talk on ESPN. And Brooke Baldwin, to her credit, because he also went after Samantha Bee, I really admired her for this, because look, we're on different sides, but if you do it with integrity, you gotta get some respect. She put together this piece of Keith Olbermann, who now Disney is hiring. As Roseanne Barr goes out the window, this guy is coming in through the door.
Donald Trump is a loser. Trump is indeed effing crazy. I'm setting aside policy for a moment because as mindless and as evil as the baboon's policy is, it can and will be rolled back sooner or later. And his policies all hang together if you just keep asking yourself, what would have happened here in this country if the Germans had won World War II? I'm talking about the man himself now. His brain does not work correctly. There is a myriad of possible explanations, and we have hit them all here. Congenital disease, drug use, any of a dozen post-concussion traumas, Alzheimer's, senility, lack of common sense, lack of awareness of things in the world besides himself, and endless specific emotional or psychological or intellectual incapacities, or all of these things at the same time.
You said recently via tweet that Trump and his family have done more damage to America than bin Laden and ISIS combined.
Yes.
All right, we'll finish this up in just a minute. First, we got to talk about Dollar Shave Club, which I have used for years and years, long before they became a sponsor. I love their razors, but they don't just send razors. They send you a razor, a pack of razors every month, or you can put anything you want in your box. But they send you anything you need to get ready in the bathroom. So over the weekend, a lot of times I have so much real estate to shave, I don't use other things. But over the weekend, I was trying out a lot of their shaving stuff. I do use their shave butter, but I use some of their shave prep and their shave post stuff. Really good stuff. I mean, it really put a bounce in my step. It was terrific. And here's a great way to try a bunch of Dollar Shave Club's products. For just $5, you can get their Daily Essentials Starter Set. It comes with body cleanser, One Wipe Charlie's, their amazing butt wipes, which I haven't used, which may be too much information as it is. Their world famous shave butter, which is excellent. Their best razor, the 6-blade Executive, which is what I used this morning. Keep the blades coming for a few more bucks a month and add in shampoo, toothpaste, or anything else you need in the bathroom. Check it all out at dollarshaveclub.com/Klavan. How do you spell it? I know you want to know. It's Klavan. That's dollarshaveclub.com/Klavan. Try these things out because I'm telling you, it is a great club. I really like it. All right. So let me just end by saying this, that the parable of Samantha Bee and Roseanne Barr is simply the parable of a group of people who have surrounded themselves with people who agree with them, and now see everyone else as evil. And because of that, they feel that they can treat us like garbage, call us those horrible names while castigating us for using their names. They should not be surprised. They should not be surprised that we picked a man like Donald Trump to fight back, because that is the way they have been treating us all this time. Hey, speaking of Father's Day, we have a special treat for our audience in honor of Father's Day. On Tuesday, June 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern, Daily Wire God King Jeremy Boring will descend among us and host a roundtable discussion with Ben Shapiro, me, Andrew Klavan, and Michael Knowles. And we'll discuss what fatherhood means, why fathers matter, and how fatherhood will stand up to an increasingly anti-male culture. Subscribers will even be able to write in live questions for us to answer. on the air. Again, that's Tuesday, June 12th at 7 p.m. Eastern, 4 p.m. Pacific. You can find our special live stream on Facebook and YouTube, so don't miss it. Hey, coming up, I got to say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube, but coming up is a conversation with our own Jacob Airey. Now, every time Knowles usually does this portion of the show, he's on his honeymoon. I wanted him to call in, but he said no, he was busy doing something, I don't know. But no, Knowles, every time Knowles comes on and we get into it, we start dissing comic book movies. I walk down the hall and Jacob comes out and says, let me come on and defend comic book movies. Normally, I just call security and have him taken away, and nobody's ever complained. Nobody ever complains about dragging him away. But normally, but today, I'm going to let him come on and give Marvel and all the other comic book movies his defense, and then we're going to take him out in the parking lot and just kick the living daylights out of him. All right, all right, we'll say goodbye to Facebook and YouTube. Come on over to thedailywire.com. While you're there, doofus, subscribe for a lousy $10 a month, or a lousy $100 for the year, and get the Leftist Tears tumbler. It looks like you're really going to need this Leftist Tears tumbler, so you want to get it now by subscribing for the year.